Hey everybody, it's Seth, Paul, and Mo for Everything Money. This channel has been dedicated to a lot of different topics: real estate, building businesses, lots of stock talk. Today we're talking about the initial steps and what is important in building and maintaining a successful business. It's very difficult. Tons of small business owners out there. We will give the insights from a couple rich fellas. Paul, you maintain a portfolio of about $100 million. You are not a guy sitting in his spare bedroom. You used to say it all the time, but it was so many.
We've gotten so much bigger.
You've gotten bigger than 100 million?
No, I meant in terms of the channel has gotten so much bigger.
There are so.
I mean, I'm sure we are 100 bigger.
If you were watching people with a backwards baseball cap and a ripped up shirt in their spare bedroom giving you financial advice, I implore you to listen to someone and surround yourself, like I have, with people that I really look up to that make an F ton of money, and that's what I want to do in this.
Make an F ton of money with the right process.
Thank you, Paul.
This is what we teach in this channel so much, and this is what's so important in this video about what matters in starting a business. It's process, and there's so many things you have to sit there and follow from day one that you might have to fight personally in your own ego and psyche to make it in the world of business, right?
Yeah, so the show is I bring your sort of ideas and questions to a couple wealthier guys and get their topics. Mo is here as well, and we can get some of his thoughts on this. Paul, I've had a lot of businesses myself. I've done a lot of things. I currently own and operate 2 businesses, and I had weekly meetings with you to get my stuff in order, and it's amazing how many people in this world have what seems to be successful businesses, and their processes are all over the place.
All over. There are no processes. They don't even have a process.
That was probably me.
Well, Seth, yeah, maybe so. I think you're a little hard on yourself sometimes about business because you also run basically a sole proprietorship in your wedding photography business, right?
Yes,
it's you and your wife. Right? What was that, Mo?
That's true.
So you can get the positive is you do everything.
Yeah.
So if you want something done the right way, you do it.
That's true.
But how do you scale that wedding photography business?
Well, and this is where you come in. This is the point of the video.
I don't know how you do.
I
know how. I have an idea of how you would do it, but scaling up. So one of the biggest things I learned in business stuff, it takes a lot different business person to take a business from 0 to $1 million than from $1 million to 10 million and 10 million to 100 million. If you guys don't know this, we have 8 or 9 businesses upstairs. I started this company in 2000, in its original form. It changed names a couple times in 2004. I was a CEO. I was a founder and CEO. I brought Andrew on. We sit in an office, just him and I, alone. That's it. And then we had property. And now I stepped down as CEO a year and a half ago, which was shocking to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But the reason being is I realized one day I wasn't willing to do, and I took us from 0 to $20 million in revenue. And I realized if we wanted to get bigger than this, it wasn't going to be me driving that. You know what I mean? That was not going to happen. So I look at somebody like Tim. Look at Tim. I'm not trying to make Tim feel good here. But I look at Tim, and I think Tim would be better at taking a business from 20 million to 100 million than I would. Mm-hmm. Tim's much more structured, much more, let's go do this, let's do a process. I like processes, but I'm not the guy to implement the process. So when you start a business, guys, the first thing you need to do, and I'm just throwing off the cuff here.
Please tell me.
Be honest with yourself.
Okay, I'm shocked. Keep going.
And the reason being is, know the kind of business person you are and be honest about it. Mo, you don't have any businesses, right? Do you have any desire to start a business?
No.
Why?
I don't want to do it.
I got it, but why?
I just don't. I don't have the drive to want to do it. That's as simple as that.
So, guys, everybody out there is probably looking at it going, I want a business. I want to do this. And my biggest complaint with people who started businesses, are you willing to do what it takes to actually have a business?
I'm not willing to do what it takes to grow.
I think the starting point for small business owners, Paul, is I want to make a lot of money, and I want to control my own hours.
So, first off, in the very beginning, for a few years, you will not have hours left, and you will not make a lot of money, if anything at all.
You have looked me dead in the eye, somewhat upset at times, and said those words, is I don't think you have what it takes to scale this business up. And sometimes we do need a harsh reality, a kick in the pants to say, I don't think I'm not honest enough with myself that I can do
And do
this.
I say it out of being hating on you?
No, of course not. I mean,
because I tell people, I sat there one day and said, I'm not willing to do what it takes to grow this business. I literally sat there and said, we have 20 million in revenue. We want to get to 100 million or whatever the number, well, the actual number is $1 billion at some point, but the next step is, and I sat there and said, I'm not willing to do this. And that's a hard thing, but guess what? To me, being honest with yourself, it's so liberating. It's so liberating. It's just like, oh, this is my fault. These are everything. I just don't want to do it. Great. You're never going to argue. I just don't want to do it. Okay, why? I don't want the stress. Mo has a beautiful life.
Yeah, you know what's funny though is I always wanted to. I always kind of felt bad that I didn't want to start a business because I have the assets to. I have the luxury of going and doing that if I wanted to. But I got to the point where I was like, just be honest with yourself. Do you want to put in the time and
the hilarious
and live a lifestyle that you? I mean, I live a great lifestyle right now.
You put in that time on the Bid-Ass Nation.
Well, true, but that's not the same thing as starting a business, you know?
It's true.
It's starting something, but it's not starting a business and having to drive revenue and this and that solely from yourself.
Yeah, Paul, as we, you and I are both 40. And so when people ask me, hey, I want to start a photography business, I think an older version of me would just celebrate, yes, go for it. And now when I get that email, I'm like, you're going to work your ass off for the next 5 years for no money. It's going to be really, really difficult. And then you still might not make it.
So look at our YouTube channel.
Oh boy.
How much time did we put into the initial stages of the YouTube channel before it was YouTube? And literally, like Seth and I would, listen, I'm going to be completely candid. I remember Seth once sitting at this table right here and crying and saying, what are we doing here? Before we started on YouTube, what are we doing here? We have 300 people a week listen to our podcast. We're not doing anything here. And what I say to you, I'm like, listen, I don't know, but something will happen.
Yes.
And our former producer, Don, said we need to go on YouTube. I remember pushing back a little bit about that. And then we went on YouTube, and all of a sudden now,
look at us.
A year later, less than a year later, look how much we've grown.
It's amazing.
Now,
so step one, be honest.
Be honest. I give the example. Yeah. So next thing, we've all heard this.
Yes, I love this. So I want to start an incredible business. I'm going to tell it. Step B, Paul, is tell everyone on YouTube. Tell everyone on social media that I'm starting said business or I'm starting a weight loss journey. And then think about all the riches, not rags. Think of all the riches, houses, and cars I can buy. It's step Z. I love those 2 steps.
This is the hardest step, getting started. This really is the hardest step. And I really realized it over the years when I was in college, hear all these kids talking about starting their own business. I'm like, man, I'm no different than everybody else. They all want to start. And then I realized, wait, none of them started a business. None of them did. They all work for companies now. But the one thing we forget in this A to Z process, and we call this the B to Y process.
Check,
guys, in football, what's the most important play?
The next one.
The next play. In starting a business, I'm not telling you to lose focus on your end goal, but your next most important thing is, what's your next step? To get from A to Z, you have 26 steps. The next one's what matters. And you should know, okay, first, I always tell people work backwards. Start at Z and work backwards. And just have your steps all laid out. If I told you today that if you wanted to make $1 million a year, there's 1,000 steps to get there. As long as you do the 1,000 steps, you'll get there. How fast would you do the 1,000 steps?
Pretty damn quick.
Pretty damn quick. That's it. Next step, get this done. Next step, get this done. Next step, get this done.
You know, it's funny, Paul. I advise young photographers on starting and building a business. And it's funny is I have a gal, I'm teaching her. She does great, artistically wonderful. The last session, we set up her LLC with the state and we set up her QuickBooks. Like 2 crazy things you have to do as a small business owner that really suck, but you got to do them. And she still hadn't done them, I mean, so this is the B to Y steps that we're talking about,
These are just things that you have to do. And they could be as simple as get your website up.
Yep.
Get ads running to your website. Get on The Knot and get on Wedding Wire. And is that Wedding Wire one of them?
Yeah.
Get on these things. These are all the steps you have to do. You have to do the steps, guys. I once wrote an email to Mark Cuban in 2004 or 5. And I said, Mark, I'm worth X amount of dollars. I want to own a sports team. What's your advice? No answer. Next day, wrote in the subject heading, I'm going to keep emailing you until you respond. Mark, boom, boom. He wrote back, save up a lot of money. There are no magic bullets, M. And he's right. There are no magic bullets. And I was literally looking for a magic bullet.
Yeah.
I was looking for him to say, Paul, if you go do this, this, and this, you're going to have a sports team in 3 years. No. He's like, there are no magic bullets. And he's 100% right. There are no magic bullets in life and business. There's just who's willing to do. The magic bullet is, are you willing to do the steps? You look at Matt Jensen, a good friend of mine, good friend of Mo's. He has a YouTube channel called Chess Goals.
Yeah.
I asked him once, he's a very risk-averse person. I asked him once, he has about 651 subscribers now. But he started it less than a year ago. I said, if it wasn't for you seeing our success, would you have given up already? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. But he saw our site. He knows us personally. He just realized, one day he said to me, Paul, I'm stagnant. What should I do? I said, post a video every day.
Keep putting out content.
He goes, really? I go, every single day. He goes, okay, when I come back from vacation, and I wrote back, you don't want it bad enough.
And then what did he do?
And he did. He goes, that day he went and recorded the 10 videos. And guess what? YouTube tells you how many subscribers you get every 28 days. He went from 30 every 28 days to now he's at 95 every 28 days. He's tripled, and that was 2 months, less than 2 months ago.
Yeah.
He's tripled his growth. Because I said to him, make a video every day.
Don't you think maybe the third tactic for starting a business is surrounding yourself with people like I am with you? I mean, like, it is a harsh...
But find yourself people that actually speak your language, because the way you do business is different than the way I do business, different than the way Mo would, different way Tim would.
Yeah, that's true.
So find somebody that the process they speak about goes, you say, that sounds right to me. Mm-hmm. Right?
I mean, I have seen you in to myself that it's just a harsh slap in the face sometimes when you're like, you're showing me you don't want it bad enough. It's like, damn, you're right.
But by the way, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's true, but...
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it's also good having somebody like that in your corner.
I always have to remind Seth, if all we do is this YouTube channel and this size and you do weddings, are you going to make more money than you ever need?
That's true.
You're going to make more money than you ever need. But that's where you have to sit there and say, okay, what's next then? Mm-hmm. I just did real estate. I just did retirement calculator in our software today, just for fun about my numbers. I just giggled going... It was exciting to me to say, Paul, you'll never, ever, ever need money ever again. So go do so to me, it's a motivation to go do the things I want to do, which is this channel and investing. That's all I want to do.
Yes.
Let my brother handle the 8 or 9 businesses upstairs. I want to do this. And I do look at the other businesses, don't get me wrong, but these are the things I focus on. But it's okay to admit that you don't want to do something because of a bad trait that you might have. I shouldn't even say bad trait, because of a trait that you might have. I'd rather have that than, and by the way, find your motivation other than money. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's 100% true. You'll make the money. Build a good business that takes care of customers and takes care of, having a good reputation for you. You will do quite well. Nothing makes me happier than when we have our Mexico houses and we get emails literally every single week. They not only say how amazing the trip is, on the trip, they book a new week. I think our conversions, like 30% of the people who go there book a week before they even leave the week they've had.
Yeah.
And I look at that going, to me, that's the biggest testament of our success in that one.
So what matters most when starting a business? Do you think it's the honesty?
Well, no, it really is. It's honestly just starting. But part of the starting is you need to have that honest conversation with yourself about what am I trying to accomplish here and why? Because you're not going to make a lot of money day one. You're probably going to lose money. It's going to suck. You're going to be inundated with hours. You're not going to see your family. But guess what? If that's not right for you, then don't do it. And just be honest. Be like, I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice.
Just starting is so important in really everything in life.
Yes.
Especially, I learned it from Mikey. I think Mikey got it from you. I'll
100%
tell you
Mikey got it
the
from
time I
me.
got it. We went to the warehouse one time. There was an 18-wheeler that we had to unload full of all of the desks and stuff. And I looked at it and I go, Mikey, what do we do? He's like, we just start. And we just started. And I was like, well, damn, that was easy.
There's a very common thing I always say, progress over perfection.
Yeah, just start.
Make progress, get started, you'll figure it out along the way.
You'll figure it out as you go.
If you're sitting there going like, oh, I have to figure out this and this and this, okay, I can tell very quickly if somebody's not going to accomplish their goals when they start making excuses to why they're not doing something. And they might sit there and say, no, Paul, I'm just thinking it through. No, you're not. You're making an excuse.
I'll give you another example of just starting. The Trading 101 series.
Yeah.
First video, that was the first time I ever flipped on a camera. I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to go, but I just clicked record and I just went. And that was it.
And how's it going now?
And it's going pretty good now. So it was just like, just get started. I don't know.
So what I've loved, Paul, is everything you're telling me about business, it actually applies
to everything in life.
Just to my life. And I'm
everything in life.
hounding my kids on the same thing. Everything you're saying about a business, I'm putting in sport. It goes to all
your relationship with your wife,
homework, all of it. Yeah,
everything.
You're right. I mean, so
if something's bothering you about your spouse, have a conversation. That's how you get it started.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? This kind of bothers me. Should we see a couples counselor? Should we not? Should we learn? These are the things in everything in life. You can apply all of these things to life. But honestly, being honest with yourself and getting started are the most important things. And maybe you say be honest with yourself as first thing, because that's the most frustrating thing for me. I get so many people come to my office and say, hey, Paul, I want to start a business with you. Great. What do you want to do? Well, if you pay me this salary and we own the business 50-50. I'm like, yeah, so you don't really want to make a sacrifice. You're not being honest with yourself. You want me to make all the financial risks, and you're going to sit there and make it work. Paul, I want it really bad. guess what? All those people who've ever been in my office, they didn't want it bad enough because none of them started the business afterwards. So they didn't want it bad enough. That's it. And that's it.
That's our take. Stay tuned. We have threads in our Everything Money community where you can discuss this, small business ownership. People have asked me more about sharing my story, Paul, because
you have a great story, Seth.
Equally as interesting as yours. So
I don't know about equally. You're probably more than interesting than mine.
Maybe. All right. Final thumbs up. Watch more videos. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next video.